because I had calmed down and going back to school, I was slowly but surely socialized, to begin to come to mainstream society. You know what I mean? Because after clubbing and fighting and drinking, that's another world, and making that transition from over, life in active addiction and coming back into mainstream society is a transition, And I was so glad he was there to move me back into that. And when I got my first job in the field was the last time I saw him, He took me to a job interview and I got the job and I never saw him again. But what he did to me, man, was show me that transition of, being able to reach back and grab somebody's hand, man, and help them along. And that's always been a part of me. And on this journey, man, there's been a lot of people who have appeared in my life like angels, helped me get through a moment of my life, and then that relationship ended or expired. Provide assessments and be able to give people diagnosis and try to give them right diagnosis. I've seen too many of our young males and our young females going to agencies and have gotten diagnoses that will follow them the rest of their lives. And I'll always say, after drugging and drinking for 10 years and going through that lifestyle, and to give them a diagnosis of schizophrenia, they've only been clean 3 weeks. That's not fair. Some people have diagnoses that, and I think, I believe some people have been given diagnoses so they can be built on. That's not what we're trying to do. I don't want to give an adolescent or a young child who comes into the agency who's been drinking and drugging and they have a history of molestation and some other stuff, a diagnosis, just to stamp them with a heavy diagnosis versus, there are lesser diagnoses you can give them and that can be changed in 6 months. So those kind of things. Want to be sensitive to not giving our young men a heavy hand. When it come time to do an assessment and offering them treatment. And most of our staff have been in the arena of addiction and our mental health and have suffered and know how it feels versus, someone who never had a problem, had all their needs met, and you talk to somebody in the community, man, and they have issues after issues after issues, and it takes a special person to reach some of those people. Not saying that you got to go through it to be better, but there's something about it when you have been there and done that, you can do something for someone else, and that's what makes our agency so unique, because we are for the community. We provide services in a particular community, and we try to find people who live in the community to provide the services for that community. So, Durham has its own experiences. Burlington have their own experiences. Henderson have their own experiences. Chapel Hill have their own, although it's one addiction, one mental health need, but there are different experiences and identifications and things that must happen. So that's what CAPS is about.
So I like the fact we talked about exposure, and even the fact that you're in the community, but you chose not to just take it to even when you set your agency, you didn't set it in the heart of the projects or the hood. You said, I want to bring the hood out. You want to expose them to something different. Please enlighten us on why did you choose to do it that way versus setting up shop right there where the problem or issues were.
and I want to call it early recovery. What's the old saying? I had become animalistic, and I was known as loco. I had this jury curl. I walked around with a dagger. I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes. I cussed a whole lot, and I was a violent, crazy human being. And yet, I met this professor. He was a professor, and he was supposed to teach a class at Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte. When he got there, they said they didn't have a job for him. And so he ended up losing his family and moving to the shelter. And so I was at a meeting at the shelter, and for some reason we became friends. God works in all kind of mysterious ways, And what he would do, he would ask me to meet him downtown Charlotte in the business district to go and have coffee with him in the morning. And of course, he would pay for the coffee. Matter of fact, he'd pay for the breakfast. And he would do this, and it got me to go back to school for my first associate degree, because I had lost the ability to read and write. But he encouraged me to go back to school. And what he did was socialize me. He took me from here and he socialized me. He got me able to sit in a civil place and have coffee in the middle of downtown Charlotte, because when we first started going, I'd clean the whole place out. When I get to banging on the table and cussing and carrying on, But after a while, I would simmer down, and I became a welcome person in the restaurant when they saw us, because I had calmed down, and going back to school, I was slowly but surely socialized, to begin to come to mainstream society. You know what I mean? Because after clubbing and fighting and drinking, that's another world, And making that transition from life in active addiction and coming back into mainstream society is a transition, And I was so glad he was there to move me back into that. And when I got my first job in the field was the last time I saw him, He took me to a job interview, and I got the job, and I never saw him again. But what he did to me, man, was show me that transition of, being able to reach back and grab somebody's hand, man, and help them along. And that's always been a part of me. And on this journey, man, there's been a lot of people who have appeared in my life like angels, helped me get through a moment of my life, and then that relationship ended or expired. And others, even in the business world. I've been in the business 10 years, and wasn't making a lot of money. Working like hell, but wasn't making a lot of money. And then one day, one of my colleagues told another colleague, "Go in and help Dr. Loney." And since then, man, we've been able to grow. And so with that experience, reaching back and touching other members in the community, and so I can look back now, and when I went to my undergrad, I told some of the other brothers and sisters how I did it, and they were able to go back and get their degrees, and I got into business, and other brothers and sisters who were in recovery now have gone back to school, have gotten got into their businesses, entrepreneurship, and also the same thing with family, because of addiction, you lose everything. You lose respect. But I knew a man who happened to him. His name was Big Daddy, and I loved the way his children used to respond to him, and he taught me some things, So the transition I'm about, man, is being able to teach somebody else, and the word is teach. The old saying goes, when a student is ready, the teacher shall appear. And I know for a fact, working with some of the young brothers in the street, man, just taking the time out for them and communicating with them and talking to them, they'll listen. They'll listen. And that's what we want to do. You know, one of the things in this CAPS, one component that we're missing is a training program where we can train people how to use their skills and talents, and have some certifications that we can get them to go back and become productive members of society, and not just folks looking for a job. You know, they need to have careers and skills, you know, so they'll be able to pay their way and not be a burden on society.
Well, that's awesome. So, like I say, it's good that now you took from your experiences of through your journey, so now you're able to instill and make sure you plant seed into the next generation.
That's right.
Bringing people on board that actually can help to be an answer to their problem that they even once faced themselves. And so now, explain to me and help us all to see what it is that you see and envision for the future of CAPS.
Well, right now we provide what we call a behavioral health care agency, and we provide mental health services, substance abuse, peer support, DWI, you know, drug testing, and a host of other stuff. And the population we serve is, you know, right now adults, you know, on up the line, and you know, we do family therapy, we do group therapy, and we do teletherapy, in-person therapy. We're in, we can serve about 70 counties, and the scope of CAPS is to extend its services, you know, to be able to reach more individuals in the community and become holistic. You know, it doesn't feel well when you're in a community where all the mills have closed down. You know, farming isn't done the way it used to be. The dropout rate is almost 80%. You know, literacy is just off the chain. And you go to someone and say, well, you know, you need to stop getting high. You need to stop using. And they ask, why? Ain't got no job, ain't got no money, ain't got nowhere to live. Well, you know, how do you not get high and deal with those issues? You know what I mean? And so the goal is, man, you know, the one component we're looking at adding on now, because we were able to do it more, because it's been like a stage. You know, we started out as a mom and pop, then we got an office, then we got a bigger office, and then and we kind of grew. You know what I mean? And then we got more clinicians, and then we got a bigger, you know, what do you call it, certification, and then we're able to go. We got blessed to do some federal grants and some federal contracts, and you know, some state contracts. So we've been able to do some stuff. Now we've been able to bring on students from universities to come and do their internships here. Now we're blessed to do that. You know, we've got some interns who have come in and worked with us and done their internship. And so the next model I'd love to see is being able to teach either landscaping, you know, maintenance. Some level of vocational training where people can learn how to become employed with meaningful employment. You know, employment that's going to pay. You know what I mean? Because the thing why get clean to go walk toilets and you're still broke and don't have no money, and the only people you can hang out with, because you can't afford to hang out with nobody else but the guy on the street corner. So one of the things, the components we're going to have, and we're going to do it, you know what I mean, is begin to look at doing some kind of vocational, educational training where we can do like a 10-week or a 12-week training for persons who want to learn how to do landscaping and then find employment when they leave, or how to work in the construction field, or, you know, we got some things on board that we're looking at doing in the year 2024. We're going to add that component on here. And again, we do teletherapy in person, and we here to serve, and we want to move into look at doing something with the youth. Now at 72, I can't do them. But we have staff members who that's their expertise, man. We want to find those individuals who can service that population without being punitive, and negative towards them. I want somebody who can see the good in our young people and offer them hope that if I could do it, you can do it. Because a lot of people, man, they don't have access to it. They don't have a blueprint. A lot of our young brothers out and sisters are out there dealing drugs, and they got money, but they don't know what to do with it. The only thing they know to do is, buy sneakers and things of no value, and hang out in the neighborhood. Some of them, how do you live in Durham, North Carolina, and never been to the beach, which is 2.5 miles that way? Or you've never been to the mountains, which is 2.5 hours that way, or Charlotte, which is 2.5 miles, and then, some people just never been anywhere. Their lives are without hope and or a vision, and that's what CAPS is all about. It's just not about get off the dope, and we're going to get you off, we're going to help stop you with depression, but there's nothing behind it. If I had to wake up, no job, no money, nothing in the refrigerator but ice, I'd smoke a joint too.
That's depressed, y'all.
Depressed, man.
So if someone wanted to connect with you guys, I know you say y'all do some great things, and we definitely welcome those who are looking for employment or even someone who needs your services. How could they find out more about you guys?
You can go online. Our website is CAPS, CAPS 4, the number 4, letter U.org. And we spell caps4u.org. You can call our office 919-680-8833. And we're more than glad to offer any services that we can have, and or help you in any kind of way. And if you just want to partner up with us. We're always looking for cooperating and connecting with other providers because there are a number of different services, and so if I can't provide a service, I'd love to refer them to somebody else, and partner up with someone else, because again, in order to serve the community, it takes more than one person and one thing. So call us, let us know. We're more than glad to come out, talk to you, anything we can.
I want you to leave everyone with something to inspire and empower them to continue this journey of life, and knowing that they can win if they keep on fighting.
Well, I'm gonna go back with Steve Covey. Cliche. Steve Covey was a motivational speaker, and he left two of one Steve Covey. And he talked about live, love, and laugh, and leave a long-lasting legacy. There was a time when nothing funny. One of the greatest joys is being able to be with my son. Our relationship always wasn't as good as it is because of the addiction, but after years and years of continuing working towards the goal of being a father and a family man, we continue to work on that. Live, and there's nothing but love all around, man. There was a time when I came into the room, I was either escorted out the room. I remember being an active addiction, and I go to my mom's house. If I go to the bathroom and I come out, open up the front door, somebody was standing there watching me. If I went in the kitchen, I turned around, somebody was watching me. I sat down in the living room, somebody was watching me. They always thought I was going to steal something. Well, they knew I was looking to steal something. And so, today, man, I can laugh at that. And the legacy is, man, having my children and they're in the field and they're doing certain things. And this hand of reaching back and grabbing someone to bring them across the line of being able to achieve their goals and they're living their life dreams. Because all the things that I desired as a child, and I wasn't able to achieve. I was always that goofy little kid with thick glasses, and people laughed at me, and I couldn't see nothing. I didn't like me, and all of a sudden, that's not true today. I'm far from that. My scriptural base, I live by is Micah 6:8, and it says, Micah is asked, what must we do? And Micah wrote, to do what's right. There was a time, do right wasn't in my, that wasn't nowhere around. It was like, get you before you get me, get over, what's yours is mine. And it was all about me, self-obsession. And today it's not that way, man. I want to do what's right, man. I want to do the next right thing. And that has changed, and that works. If I do you do the next right thing, the next right thing to happen. And it went on. The second thing was love, kindness. People have been kind to me. They've reached down and been so kind to me. They've been good to me. Knowing what the grips of addiction and mental health does to an individual. Been there, done that, man. And I can't help but be a vessel to those persons, man, who are experiencing those challenges. And sometimes this population is extremely difficult to work with because there are times some of my best work ends up being the most heart-wrenching, Getting off drugs is not an easy task. Those individuals who suffer with mental health, it's not an easy task, and there's a lot of failure. But being kind to people who don't know kindness, don't know goodness, haven't been given a good break, man, is what it's all about. And it goes on, do what's right, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. There's nowhere in the world I can take credit for anything that is going on. It's nothing but grace, mercy, and peace and love. I've just been chosen and anointed to do. I'm just so thankful I got a chance to get here so I can be used by God. And I want to tell those individuals, man, who find themselves locked into the grip of addiction, in the shadows and valleys of mental health, man. We're called CAPS, Clinical Addiction Professional Services. Give us a call. If you have someone who's caught up in addiction and mental health, it's a family illness. There's nowhere in the world you can see your child go down the tubes of addiction and not be affected. I remember my father-in-law told my dad, your son isn't shit. And he was right. And I know that hurt my father deeply. But the good news is, when my father passed away, that had changed. So, again, don't ever let nobody tell you, that's the extent of your life. It's not a truth. So many people today, have been able to turn their lives around where they can live, love, laugh, and leave a long-lasting legacy. Thank you.
No doubt. I think that was perfectly said. So continuously go out there and know that day you can win if you do all you can do. So please like, please subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Be Great Podcast. Be great.